Without a conscious effort, I was using the tools.
Good afternoon, Team GOGI women. How are you? I just wanted to say hi, let you guys know I'm getting ready to do an interview with one of our GOGI leaders who paroled from CCI to Tehachapi, Ernie Romero Garcia. So stay tuned and we're going to get going on that. When in your incarceration did you first hear about GOGI?
The first time I heard about GOGI was in 2014. I was in Delano. I went to board. They gave me a 3-year denial, but during that time, the commissioners told me that they wanted more self-help for me, and they recommended GOGI.
Really?
Yeah.
The commissioners recommended GOGI?
Commissioner Richardson.
That is awesome. Wonderful.
Okay, so I went back to my cell after my board hearing, and I shared with my cellie what they had said, and he told me he thought he had a GOGI book and that it was in the weight pile, so it was kind of old, beat up, but I started reading it. At first I found it silly, I found it corny. You know, it was written by prisoners, for prisoners, just the whole thing that it was saying. Boss of my brain, belly breathing. I was like, these are silly, they're all silly names. I'm not gonna lay on my back, I'm not gonna fill my stomach and breathe in, and I'm not gonna do none of these things, you know. Somebody trying to make a fool of me, you know. So I really didn't take to it, but I still read it because it was recommended by the commissioner. And a funny thing happened as I started reading it, and as days turned into weeks to months, I started realizing that I was, without a conscious effort, I was using the tools. So boss of my brain, you know, only we control, you know, what we think. Only we have that ability to block or to accept how our minds work. And so as time passed, I realized the greatness of the tools of GOGI, and it really helped me.
Tell us about what happened when you went to Sea Yard at CCI.
I got there in February of 2015, and the way it was ran then was we only had two groups. We had NA and AA, Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous, which were ran probably maybe once in 3 months. So there was no self-help on that yard. So all of us, it was a fighting effort to get any kind of groups on that yard. Towards the middle of 2016, when Coach Taylor actually came to talk to everybody, it was the first time that we had a righteous self-help group that we felt could make a difference, because a lot of us had already started reading the material. Like me, I took a correspondence course, how to GOGI. You know, we just started participating on our own, paying for it so that we can do it and we can acquire, you know, the education of the group itself, of the curriculum. So when it was actually made a group, the first thing that I seen is that people were excited. There was some people that came to the groups that thought it was silly, but I understood it. I was a facilitator. I was co-chairperson right there on Sea Yard, and I understood how they felt it being silly because I felt the same way.
Right.
But the thing was, as a group, as we started moving forward, they started getting it. They started opening up, and what it does is it allows inmates to build bonds with each other, because now we're learning personal information about the individuals that we could have been on that yard together for a year and never really knew them. But when we do practice these groups, when we do practice GOGI, like they say, GOGI is a culture. It is, because it's the way we live. It's not something you just study and you repeat. It's something that you embrace wholeheartedly and you live as each day passes. So all of us became like a community within ourselves. You know, we all hung around together on the yard. We helped each other. Somebody was going through something, we would pull them to the side, talk to them, you know, and make sure that they were all right. So GOGI changed the whole culture of the yard, because more people started participating in self-help groups and wanted to be in GOGI. We had close to 300 members when I left.
Wow, that's awesome. When they talk about somebody being a GOGI leader, what exactly is that?
A GOGI leader is, you're going to lead by example. First of all, you're going to lead in a way that people understand that when they ask the question, well, how's he like that? How's he successful? How's he programming? How's he staying out of trouble? It's because of the tools of GOGI. Now, me personally, I'm a man of faith, but GOGI only enhanced my faith. It didn't take away from it. It didn't detract from it. When you think about positive thoughts, you understand that the more positive you think, the more positive your actions are going to be. It's like it says, you know, positive thoughts, positive words, positive actions. And that's the way they really go. You know, you think it, you speak it, you do it. So if you could just practice that, that's the thing about GOGI. If you learn one tool and you're able to embrace that tool and practice that tool will change your life. But you have to be open to it. And so for me, thinking positively, I was a clerk at CCI. So I constantly had interactions with people. Now, being pro-social wasn't really my skill. But see, with GOGI, it allowed me to think positively, so I would try to greet everybody in a positive manner. And that kept me out of, I believe, a lot of trouble that I could have gotten into. My whole problem, I think, for most of my life was that I didn't understand my own worth. I didn't understand my value. So when I started helping people, I found value in myself by finding value in them. You know, so being of service will change your life. When you go and share things of GOGI and you're helping people and you're doing things without any thought of return, it changes you. I knew I wanted to change. I knew I wanted a better life, but I didn't know how to do it. I mean, when you're used to living a life that's nothing but criminality, it's nothing but manipulating other people, lying, and you want to change for the better and become a better person, how do you do that? How do you stop being that person that doesn't know nothing else but to be deceiving? I mean, how did you change that? I didn't know how to change it. So I knew that I wanted to change, and I believe the board recognized that, because that's why the board gave me a 3-year denial. But I'm not sure that Commissioner Richardson really knew how much that her recommending GOGI and me getting into GOGI would change me. Because what GOGI did was give me the tools to live a productive, constructive, positive life. As long as today you're better than you were the day before, and you have it in your mind already that tomorrow you're going to be better than you were today, I mean, that's enough. If you can just stick to that and practice all these GOGI tools, and they're not hard, they're really simple, but they do take effort. I mean, besides what if you have belly breathing, and if you ever see people who belly breathe, it's a funny thing, but have you ever seen a parent, when they get mad at their children, they take that deep breath? Right. Because they're frustrated and they're trying to just regroup. Well, see, we've been doing this all our lives. We get mad, we take that deep breath, we do it naturally. So when you breathe from the belly, when you get that oxygen, when it's to your brain, it's actually a calming feeling, and it allows you to make better decisions. Now, this is something that sounds silly, and it's something that works, though. You know, as silly as it sounds, as silly as you may feel, having your hand on your stomach, checking, practicing, make sure you're breathing through your belly, it really works.
What benefits are there if we as wives out here study GOGI? If we as wives out here have our own meetings, if we are studying along with our men inside, what kind of an effect can that have on our relationships?
I think it strengthens a relationship. You see, the thing is just like I was telling you earlier, that the men, we started to form bonds with each other. Well, I think if you're having a relationship with a man that's in prison, that relationship between the man and the woman becomes stronger, because you both have a shared, how would you say, shared interest.
Right, and a shared goal.
Yeah,
right?
And a shared goal. And so as he's evolving, you evolve with him. And as you guys evolve together, you guys are going through these stages together. And it gives you something that's positive and constructive to focus on. You know, instead of just going and talking about package lists and, you know, what you're going to do when you get out, or you have where you're going to steal your next kiss and all that's all good, you know. But the thing is that this is something that'll help your husband, your boyfriend, or even your friend. It'll help him change his life. And if you're changing your life with him, that'll encourage him. If you teach your children GOGI, you know, if they can grow up with these tools, and I mean, it'll help them, because they don't have to change the negative behaviors, because they're learning as they grow up. And these things will help provide them with outlets to be better equipped in the social environments that they're going to be encountering as they grow older.
Do you think if we were to have the power up meetings out here in the reentry facilities, is that something that could help a lot of these guys be able to stay focused as well as give back?
Absolutely. I think that that's what's lacking, that there's really not a lot of self-help groups such as GOGI or even CGA, things that get direct and really help people as far as helping change their behavior and keeping them grounded. You know, if there was a GOGI meetings in transitional housing, or even one out here that just ran in different, I'm in San Diego, so if there's just things that are ran where people can unite and be together and work on a common goal, I think it would help them, because there is a lot of stress out here. The main thing is practicing it, and like I told you, it's more than just something you learn. It is a culture, but it's a way of life, and that's the most important thing to know, is that it has to be something done every day. So this way, whether there's groups or not, you're still practicing GOGI, and you have to share it. It's a disservice if you don't share the tools and what you've learned with GOGI with other people. I mean, some might not like it, some might think it's funny, some, but there will be some that are interested and be like, oh really? And that's all you need. You just need those ones that are receptive and the ones that want to learn and want to change, and GOGI will give them that. When I was a teenager, I wasn't equipped for a lot of the situations that I went into. I really didn't understand that only I had the power to think of what I was thinking. I would always blame other people. I never took responsibility. I would always say, if he hadn't have said that, I wouldn't have done this.
Right. If
he hadn't have done this, I wouldn't have done. It was always an excuse for my behavior. And GOGI gives you the tools to see that no, nobody makes us angry. Nobody makes us do anything. We allow it. We choose to be angry. And all these things are things that if we could teach the youth, you know, especially like in these diversion programs that are going on, if we can implement GOGI to where they see that, you know what, these kids practice it, and then if they start practicing it together, they'll change all the other kids that aren't even participating, because they're going to be like, you know what, I don't have to fight.
Right.
I don't have to get in this riot. I don't have to do this.
Right.
And it gives them an avenue and out, so to speak. And
right.
I think there's many kids that want it out when they're young. They're tired.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to be constantly fighting every day or having to go stab somebody if you're in the youth authority or go into a riot. I mean, some people just want to be left alone, do their time, and get out. Yeah, I think GOGI, mentoring kids, showing them how to use the tools and showing them everyday life, how you cope, your coping mechanisms through GOGI, how you get through difficult situations. I think it would help any kid. You know, I really do.
Okay. Thank you very much for this time. Anything else that you'd like to add?
I would just like to say there was a group of guys over there in CCI on Sea Yard. And before I left, I didn't have a chance to say bye to all of them. And they sent me a card. I got a card, all of them signed it, and it meant a lot to me. And I'm very happy that all of them are saying that they're going to stick with GOGI. They're not going to give up. They're not going to quit. And that they were happy for me. Things are a struggle out here, but every time I think about them, it just helps me stay focused and helps me keep pushing forward. Just stay doing what you guys are doing. You know, I have faith, and I believe that all of you guys one day will see what I'm seeing out here. You know, a bright sun, beautiful day, freedom. Just don't lose faith. Keep going.
And I'm going to get a good shot just so that anybody inside might notice that you might have put on a couple pounds since you got out. Healthy living out here, plenty of food. All right.
Very true.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.